You're listening to the After the Show movie podcast from ascully.com. You can find this podcast on the iTunes Music Store, Google Play, YouTube, voice assistants, just say listen to After the Show movie podcast. And you can also find us on ascully.com, where we post written reviews. With that out of the way, here are your hosts, A Scully and Sid Talk. Good evening, good afternoon, good evening. What is it? Is it evening or afternoon?
Was this the Truman Show? Right now, it's evening.
I will
It's not, who knows? Someone's listening. It could be 7 a.m., 7 p.m., 2 a.m. It could be 10 days from now. It could be 50 years from now. This is 2019. If you're listening to this in like 2069, 59, is that 10 years? 50 years. In 50 years.
Well,
my math skills are failing me.
Your math skills are cracking you up.
In 50 years, it will be 2069, correct?
Yes.
That's my 19 plus 50.
Yes.
69. Okay.
Do the
if you're
math.
Listening to this in 2069 in some way, then it doesn't matter what time of day it is when we're doing this.
I'll tell you this now. If you're listening to this on Monday morning, the Monday that this comes out, and you haven't put your clocks back, you're in for trouble.
Correct. You're already an hour. You're not in trouble.
Well,
We're falling back, so you've been early now, an hour early for work, possibly.
You're at work an hour early, and you're like, why is there no cars in the car park? I don't get it. So, there's your
I worked nights for 12 years, and we got a lot of the time changes, and so the years when you spring forward, you go from 2 to 3, and then the day shift has to come in at the new 6:45. So you are at work an hour less. And in the fall, it was like, it's 2 a.m. and you set the clock back to 1. And then you've just gained another hour. So, yeah, I'm very familiar with the time change. I don't know why we still do it. I think it's a little bit silly, but...
What is the official reason we still do it?
I don't know. Habit? There can't be any economic, cultural...
I mean, there's no reason to do it. No. It doesn't matter.
No.
It was something to do with farming originally, I read.
I think.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. We could literally just do away with it.
It's not like we set the clock back 10 hours, and that makes a huge difference in everyone's lives. It's 1 hour.
If we completely did away with it, nobody would...
Yeah, if you just didn't do it 1 year and then that's it.
That's it.
Never even mention it. Everyone pretend like it never happened. That'd be great.
Well, if
Let's start with tomorrow. Nobody turn your clocks. Oh, wait, it's too late. You've already done it.
Yeah, you probably already did. Or guess what? These days, you don't even have to do it, do you? Most of your devices will do it anyway.
True.
So you're under control is what's happening. All right, so have you got any before the after the show talk?
Not really. It's pretty random. I'm drawing a caricature / cartoon of an old classmate's daughter. It's delicate. I don't know how to draw caricatures perfectly, so I'm using lots of standard pictures. I do a little artwork here and there, and so I'm trying to make it flattering but still fun. It's tricky, but it's working. That's it. That's all we were talking about.
And you, being a listener of the show, you can't see that.
True.
You can't see it. Yeah, if this was visual radio, you'd be able to see it.
Here's the thing. People know what a caricature is. It's a cartoonish... exaggerated image of a person. And that's it.
All right, so it is Saturday, November the 2nd. You're listening to After the Show. We're a movie review podcast. This is our 606th edition. We're a long-running movie review podcast. Would you say, Sid Talk?
Yeah. How many can outdo us?
No.
Who's been going longer than us? Cheapy D. By a small margin.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure some podcasts have been going for thousands and thousands of episodes. They do an episode every day.
I thought you were going to say thousands and thousands of years.
Also that, yes. So we're looking at a movie this week, and the movie we're looking at is The Peanut Butter Falcon. It's a 2019 movie. Comes out on Blu-ray on November the 12th, so we got this a little early for review. You can pick it up from Lionsgate, who sent us a copy for review. It's PG-13. And Sid Talk will give you the synopsis of the Peanut Butter Falcon, and then I'll give you the one off the box.
It's a road movie with fish out of water-ish. It's a friend movie. A dude who's got troubles finds another dude who's got troubles. And they make sort of a let's live our lives kind of point versus live your life in a packaged, perfect little thing.
Now, while
does that match it? That has to be exactly what it says.
I was going to say, well, that's good. It wouldn't quite fit into this paragraph. Well, no, I guess this paragraph's longer than yours. Anyway, the Peanut Butter Falcon follows Zach, a young man with Down syndrome, who runs away from a residential nursing home to fulfill his dream of attending the pro wrestling school of his idol, the Saltwater Redneck.
Okay.
On the road, Zach meets Tyler, a small-time outlaw, who becomes Zach's unlikely coach and ally. Together they set out on a wild, life-changing journey and try to convince Eleanor, a kind nursing home employee, charged with bringing Zach back, to join them. That is pretty much what it is.
Pretty close. Yeah. It's not just pretty much. It is what it is.
So let me say, as you know from our reviews, you can't really talk about a movie fully without talking about the plot. If we do try and dodge around it, it just becomes so vague. It's like
True.
We're not saying anything. So if you've not seen this movie in the theaters, wait on the 12th of November. You can pick up a copy, watch it, and then come back and listen to us. Or if you don't care, just listen anyway. So, Sid Talk, what do you think? The Peanut Butter Falcon.
I enjoyed it. It's touching. It's like mesmerizing a little, kind of like different movies. One of them is your recommendation, but there are some kind of movies like this that are just right outside of, it's a road trip movie, like I said. However, it's not constructed exactly like a road trip movie. The people are all effed up. Like every person has some issue. As you eat along, I was like, they're all ornery, troublemakers, troubled people. They've all got difficulties. There's no one here that, as we find out that's just like a packaged up perfect person. So I felt like that was really interesting. And then it deals with people and their emotional problems in a different way, which I like.
Would you class it as a drama or a comedy?
Well, it's good question.
A dramedy?
Not really. What's it defined in the genre on like IMDb?
I actually don't know. Let me check. I have it open. It is defined as an adventure comedy drama.
Adventure comedy drama.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's comedy and there's, I don't know if it's drama.
Now, I really like this movie. I think it's really sweet. It's quite positive, isn't it? In a way, like even though there's some the horrible parts of life seep into it sometimes.
True.
And violence and that kind of thing. But it's got quite a positive message. It reminded me, like something like Stand By Me, which from years ago. It felt positive, but then there was the around it. And this has that kind of feel. And feels like a growing up story and a it's
not really a grown up story. You keep saying that, but there are no young people in this movie.
Being included, let me say. Like this kid, not kid. Nope. How old did you say was 35?
In real life, and in the movie he's 22.
Right, and he's got Down syndrome. And people all, seems like all his life, we get hints of it at the beginning, have been, calling him
insulting him, yep.
Insulting him. And he's kind of a strong dude, and he's just kind of pushed through it. And,
physically strong.
Yeah, physically strong, and also I feel like emotionally strong, because he just kind of like, when he's in an elderly retirement home, right? Like a nursing home.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't find really anywhere to put him, because he had nobody. I mean, it didn't explain that fully, did they?
Well, she said he has no family, and the state then is responsible for him, and so he didn't want to be there. I mean, he's a 22-year-old guy, and he's stuck in a old person's home, which, because he's not handicapped or disabled, he's capable, but the state has decided he can't, live a life, you know? And that's where the living the life comes from in my synopsis, is they decide to kind of like break the rules. Not just rules like don't run away from the nursing home, which is what he does, but break the rules as in, and it's touched upon, the young woman who's caring for him and has to find him, Shia LaBeouf says, you're just treating him like he can't do anything. Like, you don't have to say anything bad, but by constantly coddling him. So then out in the world with Shia LaBeouf, that doesn't happen. He's just a dude, and they're just doing their thing. So I think that's... I
like... actually, I've not put it down in my recommendations, but Ricky Gervais did a show called Derek, which was a similar idea. He was in like a nursing home, wasn't he? Like a... You know, there was nowhere to put him. He kind of got put in this nursing home. And it's a similar vibe to it, about like how people just look at like a Down syndrome person, for instance, like this. I mean, I don't, but people do. Like, it's like a generalization thing, and go, well, they can't do anything. Like, what's the, you know, and that's what Derek was about, wasn't it? Like that he was like like a better person than anybody.
Means we have to sort of coddle you,
right? And the thing with Ricky Gervais's Derek was that Derek, this character, who actually had Down syndrome as well, right?
I don't think so.
What did he have?
I don't know for sure.
Like a brain disorder.
I'm not sure.
I thought it was Down syndrome.
I don't think so.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but he turned out, like, out of anybody in the whole thing, he was like the purest person, and that was what the thing was. Like, all the good was in Derek, and all the bad stuff is from what people bring to it. Like,
true.
So, and this kind of has that feel to it, and that's what it reminded me of. I really like the interactions between Tyler and Zach, who were the two main characters. Really, I liked it when he said Tyler, and he's like getting on his nerves that he keeps saying Tyler. And he turns around and says, what? He says, I just need to tell you, I'm a Down syndrome person. And he just looks at him like...
He said, I don't give a shit.
Like that, that doesn't matter to him. Like, you just doing his thing. I mean...
That I find interesting. Good. It shakes you up a little bit. And also in the movie, a child gets punched. A really shitty child. A shitty 12-year-old kid does a shitty thing, and then he gets punched in the face, and you're like, I know that you're not supposed to punch children, but
I said
they went there.
In this instance, if you're allowed to punch a child, this instance would be it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because this child was making fun of the Down syndrome child.
You're right. Well, he wasn't a child. You keep saying that. Like, you're biased.
The Down syndrome 35-year-old man.
He's a man.
Yeah.
He's a grown man.
I don't know why I see him as a child in the movie, because he's very childlike, I guess.
Well, you're prejudiced against Down syndrome people, obviously.
I am not, but he's a childlike vibe about him, is what it is. Because, you know, he wants to be a wrestler. Not that that's childlike, because there are 40-year-old men who are wrestlers, right? But that's his aim. The mission here is, like, he wants to get out of this old person's home and go and meet this, you know, guy who's been watching on these VHS tapes, who looks like a hero to him. You know, he's like discount Hulk Hogan.
Correct.
You know, the local wrestler who's kind of cool.
He's not local. They have to go quite a ways. A couple hundred miles.
I mean, like, he's in the town where he lives. It's low. He's like a little celebrity around his town, right?
His town, yeah.
He's not like he's not Hulk Hogan, is what I'm saying. He's more of a low rent.
Is Hogan really a big deal to you?
Well, Hulk Hogan was known all around the world, right? He's like the WWE superstar. This guy who plays, what's he called, the character?
Oh gosh, now I've forgotten. The something redneck.
Saltwater redneck.
Saltwater redneck, that's it.
And he is, you know, he's a little wrestler, let's say.
A little wrestler.
But, you know, Zach, I've just seen him on these videotapes. He's in a old people's place. There's not really much excitement, but he's been watching these wrestling tapes, and it gives him something.
Yeah.
And then he wants to escape and go and meet him, to be trained by him to become a wrestler. So that's kind of like the outline to it, but it's about more than that, isn't it? I mean, that's just like, that happens at the end, but I don't feel like that was the main thing, you know? What I did feel about this movie was, I thought it had some bad editing in parts.
A little bit. I agree with you.
Yeah, it felt real like we were skipping from one scene to another without any...
Yeah.
It was towards the end. It felt like it was rushed at the end.
I agree.
And I was watching it going, this kind of flowed quite well up to now, when it feels like you're just flicking between scenes with no build up to anything. Like it's, oh, now we're doing this. Oh, and here's the bad guys. Oh, and the bad guys are finished. Oh, like that.
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't know if that's a problem with it or that's how it's supposed to go, but I do feel
it got a little like patched together there in times
towards the end and rushed. I felt like we were having really good like conversations between people and characterization going on, and then it kind of turned into there's a bit of an action scene at the end, let me say, and then it cuts to a thing, and then it cuts to pretty much the end. Right, it's over, and I was like, oh, okay. Not that it leaves you going, oh, I wonder what happens or anything like that. You
get so much more filling in during the rest of the movie that when it does that, you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like takes you back.
Yeah, so if I felt that, I feel like, is it the editing, directing, or what? It feels there's something amiss there towards the end. Like it doesn't quite know how to wrap itself up.
Well, it's not a living entity. It's individuals who are writing this. Yeah. Producers, directors, writers, performers. So collectively, they thought this was the way to go.
But that's the only issue I had, because I like the performances. I think they're really solid, and the cinematography in most of the movie is good.
Most.
It's a lot of long shots, like really long shots, where the characters are just a figure because there's a lot of walking from one place to another.
True.
And a lot of being on a boat or being on a raft, but like they're very small. I mean, it's made to show you that they're traveling a fair way. There are some things that you have to make a leap with a little bit. Like I thought the relationship between Eldona and Tyler was
a bit compressed.
Yeah, bit too compressed for me. Like I was like, oh, okay, now we're talking, and now she's smiling at him. Oh, and now,
Yeah.
And now she's giving him a kiss. I mean, he's giving her a kiss. I was like, wow, it seems quick, because I feel like it was only been 1 day or maybe 2 days at the most, So that's another thing. Maybe the writing, maybe the editing.
I mean, you could say, okay, this movie is about taking a journey of life that isn't like what everyone expects you to do.
Right.
And she has been a hospice person and been with people as they died. She's a young widower or young widow. So her first husband, we don't know what the circumstance, but she says she's a widow. And so her life is very controlled, but she's seen a lot of death, and she's very compassionate.
Yeah.
And maybe she, and she's frustrated. The boss that she has is kind of a dickhead, and she's not fully living, if you think about it that way. And then, but because she reacts to this guy almost instantly, you have to make up that she was sort of itching to get out and to live her life. And so now she's got that. But you have to fill that in. You don't get her saying, she never has the one line where she's like, oh, I've got to get out of here, or I can't do this job anymore, or have her even sitting alone in her apartment, just like totally lonely and having no life. None of that leads up to her all of a sudden falling for this guy. Yeah,
full on. I mean, by the end of the movie, it's quite clear that she's fell for him. So that part,
it's plausible.
I did get the spark. Like when she first meets him in the convenience store, gas station thing, I did get the spark immediately. I understood, there's going to be something here. And then I was like,
And there are people like him in the world.
Yeah.
Just so you know. He's very forward, and he kind of coy and flirty. He's definitely a type.
Kind of I feel like it, the character he plays is kind of like him, because I've seen him in a lot of interviews. I feel like he is like that in real life. Like he's very, I'm not scared of anything. I'll just, talk, if I want to talk to this beautiful woman, I'll talk to her. I'm not, there's no barrier. Why? No, nothing's saying like a guy like me can't talk to her.
True.
Because he's kind of filthy, isn't he? And he's very filthy.
That's one thing I felt very visceral about through this whole movie, is that everyone had to smell bad.
Yes.
They're in the water. They're in their clothes. They're not taking baths. They're not properly eating. They're out in the weather. They've got sand and dirt all over them. And I think he smelled bad to begin with, because he was getting crabs and fish out of the water. And so the whole movie kept reinforcing this, like, oh, if I could smell them, it wouldn't be pleasant.
But then when Eleanor turned up, I was like, well, she smells nice and nobody else does.
At first.
At first,
But then she lives out in the woods or out on the river with them, so I'm thinking by the end they all smell bad.
Yeah. So it's a drama movie. You know, it's not an action-packed thing, even though they try and throw some action in at the end. But that action at the end, you know what? If it didn't even have that, I would have liked it. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, there's a bit of a wrestling part, but, you know, it's a bit cartoonish.
Definitely.
Well, a lot cartoonish, to be honest. There's a move that could never possibly have happened, right? But
that's your, like, moment.
Yeah, when you remember, you've seen Napoleon Dynamite. You know when he goes and dances on the school stage and it's, like, triumphant?
Yeah.
And everybody goes, oh! Yeah, it's that moment in this movie. So moving on to the cast, Shia LaBeouf plays Tyler. And I said to you today, I've all along, I've always liked him, you know?
Yeah, except for you're questioning him for some period of time because he went through like a phase, but then you know what that phase was all about, and so he won you over again.
So Shia LaBeouf got this like tag put on him as that he's like a Hollywood person who's kind of going crazy. And it's exactly the same tag that Joaquin Phoenix had. Remember that one? Mm-hmm. Where was it Joaquin Phoenix?
Yeah.
Where he was being method for a thing that he was doing. And it came across to people just looking at him going, what's wrong with him? Is he having
so obnoxious?
Or are you having a nervous breakdown? Is there something wrong with you? And Shia LaBeouf did a bunch of stuff that from the outside looking in is like, what is he actually doing? Like,
Is he just super pretentious, or is he trying to make a point? Yeah.
No, so recently he did Hot Ones, which is a YouTube show that I watch. And the gimmick of Hot Ones is Sean, who hosts it, interviews a celebrity, but they eat hot sauce on chicken wings, and it gets hotter and hotter for each question. And Shia LaBeouf was the first person this season to be interviewed. And he actually asked him about it. Like, remember that time when people were saying, oh, Shia LaBeouf's gone crazy? And he was like, well, the first thing I did was people kept seeing me in all these memes. Like, I was popping up in these memes and it looked like I was crazy. He goes, I was working with Harvard University on what it takes to create a meme for a thesis for this girl I was helping, a student there. And we went in a studio with a green screen and I filmed loads of crazy stuff and we threw it out there. And it was a dissertation to see how, if a meme can be created or it has to just organically happen, right?
Right.
That was what that was about.
Okay. Well, he can say that. Right. We have no proof of that.
No.
But it sounds, again, plausible.
And then the second thing was, there was a thing that he did. He put on a film festival in a cinema in New York, I think. And it was a film festival that played Shia LaBeouf movies 24 hours a day. And he went to it and just sat and watched them all. Sat there, and there was a webcam looking at him. And he was watching the things. And people were like, what's this crazy shit? Like, why is he watching himself in a theatre? And, well, that was about another thing, which he was doing with the university, was about looking at yourself and trying to figure yourself out and improve it, or maybe see what's going on. Because he said, like, you don't really look at your work when you're a film person. You might do your film. You had a certain feeling about it, but it's not like you go and sit and look at it. Right. So he wanted to go and look at it, and he was looking at Transformers and what was the other Will Smith movie that he was in? Remember? I think it was iRobot.
Yes. Yeah.
Movies like that.
I said Kevin Smith. I'm like, was it a movie with Kevin Smith?
No, Will Smith.
Got it.
But he was looking at all these movies and looking like how he'd grown as an actor or how he'd got worse or what choices he made. And that was what that was about. It wasn't like he was crazy and he was watching me, and sometimes it's hard to understand what's going on at the time.
Sure.
But.
So what you're saying is you like him, you appreciate him more than you have, or you've always been like, you go, LaBeouf?
I've always thought he was a good actor. I mean, when you watch something like The Transformers, it's not great acting, because it's just to serve the story, isn't it? But I've always liked him. I mean, we saw him in his first ever movie, right? The Battle of Shaker Heights,
Yeah.
which was the Project Greenlight movie that won. And I really liked that movie a lot. Did you like it?
I think it was a bit, amateurish.
Right. Well, yeah.
But kind of sweet.
Yeah, it was kind of like this movie in a way, like a sweet movie, yeah. But I've always liked him along the way, and then sometimes I'm like, why is he just relegated to being like, like in iRobot, he's just some dude who's a friend who walks alongside somebody and that's it. But then, he did Transformers, he carried those movies, didn't he, until it didn't work anymore. Marky Mark took over. But, I in this movie in particular, I think he was excellent. It was just like he was really natural, like that's it, who he is, Like
he's broken like in American Honey.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like he was being Shia LaBeouf.
So that's not high praise, because when you're a performer, you don't want to have people going, oh, that character, that's just you. You're not even trying.
But I did just see an interview that he spent a lot of time with his co-star in this, Zach, and they got really friendly, and that's how they did the scenes.
Yeah.
But they were just friends, like acting second and friends first. And I think that really comes across, because the scenes are just, like you said, there's a scene where Zach's just touching his face. Mm-hmm. And it just seems like a thing that was happening, right? It doesn't seem like, let's just touch each other's face because we want to be touchy-feely. It just felt like it was, they were rolling the camera and that was what was going on. So there's a lot of that in there. But I don't know, Shia LaBeouf's character in this, he was really, there was a lot of emotion, I thought. There was a lot of, telling people, just get over that. Like when he was first talking to Eldona and she's like, I have to look after him. And he's like, no, you don't. When he pushes he said, put your head in the water and keep it in there as long as possible. And she's like, what are you doing?
He needs us to baby him.
Don't need to baby him. He's fine. So I really liked the thing he was portraying, and I liked his portrayal of it.
Very nice. Thorough review there of one individual.
Dakota Johnson plays Eldona. I really like her. We saw her last in Suspiria, which she was very good in Suspiria, right? Mm-hmm. What do you think of her here?
No, she was good. She had, I understood her character. A young woman working in a nursing home. She's more friendly than she is authoritative. I don't know what her position is.
No,
she doesn't ever say she's a caregiver, social worker. I'm not sure what, but I was totally sold. And then her kind of easing into this thing with these two guys on the road, it felt right too. So either way, I think she was doing a good job. She didn't overdo the I don't want to break the rules, and she didn't overdo the woo, I'm living my life now. You know what I mean?
No,
she was right across the middle, which was good.
Yeah. Zach Gottsagen, I think that's right, plays Zach, who is the main character in the film. What did you think of Zach? I mean, he has done a short film before, but this is his first feature film. Did you like him?
I did. I feel like I don't, because anytime find someone new, you've never seen them, and he does have Down syndrome, there are going to be moments when I feel like it was a challenge beyond the normal, I shouldn't say normal, beyond someone who just has to memorize the line and say it out. Ba 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 ba, blah blah blah. He struggles at times, it feels like.
I mean, sometimes he struggles enunciating the words, I think.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's him playing a different character to himself, or if it's just his own personal way that he is. I'd like to see him in something where the Down syndrome isn't the focus.
Yeah.
Where he's just a guy, and that's not even a thing. That would be great if we could, whenever we make a movie about someone who isn't quote unquote mainstream, whatever that is, right? We draw attention to the thing that makes them outside of that main river stream. And so if you just make movies where that's not a thing. Let me think. Was Station Agent, him being, because it was him. He wasn't about him being a little person. His friend made fun
out of it, though.
Did he?
Yeah.
But just as a friend?
Just in a friendly way, but it was brought up that he was small.
Right.
That was introducing, that was his first thing.
What was his name?
I was going to say Zach Galifianakis, but that's not
no.
Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage, yeah.
The Station Agent's a great movie, by the way.
But I think reinforcing the difference, while sometimes that's excellent and that's life, right? If you have a friend who is whatever, like me, I'm the overweight round friend, right? That's not like a genetic thing.
It's not a disability.
But if you're going to like a beach with your friends, and then that's like your thing, you're the outsider person. But if you're making a movie with me being the fat lady and the other skinny women, it always has to make a joke out of the fat person, right? So I would be the butt of the joke on the beach in the bikini instead of never even acknowledge
the joke.
Yeah, instead of just not acknowledge, like, it's not a thing, right? Because when I'm with my friends, they don't say to me, "Oh my God, you're too fat for a bikini," or like "snicker, snicker." So I would have to see him in something else that wasn't focused on him having a Down syndrome.
But as far as this was, what did the directors say? That they just wanted to make a movie that...
They met him when they were at a camp for people with disabilities. Right. And he said he wanted to be a movie in movies. And they actually said, well, that's not going to happen because mainstream movies aren't made with people with disabilities or these differences as the main star. And then they discussed it and it kind of gnawed at them for a while. And then eventually they went ahead and made the movie for him to be it.
And there is like a part of them, there's a Shia LaBeouf saying something in the movie about like when he says to him, look, listen, you're never going to be like an Olympic swimmer.
Yeah.
Or you're never going to, it's like that is echoed in the film. Whereas like, you're never going to be this. Oh, maybe you can be this because, they told this guy.
I mean, there are limitations on all of us.
There are limitations physically.
Yeah.
But I mean, they make a point in this movie that he's not very good at swimming. But by the end of it, he's fine with water. Yeah. So, John Hawkes plays Duncan. He's the bad guy in the movie. It's very underutilized, really, I think. But
True.
You know what? Like, every time those bad guys showed up, I wasn't really into those scenes. I know the way the script works is, like, there's something happened at the beginning. And these bad guys are coming, so there's like a danger looming kind of thing. But I don't even know if it needed it.
I agree.
So whenever they turned up, they were really cartoon-like as well. Like,
I agree.
Cartoon kind of hillbilly types. It's kind of weird. Especially the other guy who was with him. I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, that guy has to be something, because he doesn't seem like...
That guy's called Yellow Wolf, and he is a rapper.
That's what, because he said he had a rap off with Zach on the set.
Yeah.
They did look, cartoony, as I'm sitting here staring at a cartoon face.
And almost, like, if that whole plot line wasn't in here, this movie would still work as a discovery, like going across. They don't even
if the thing happened in the beginning and then Shia LaBeouf's running away and they never chase after him, it wouldn't matter.
It didn't matter, did it?
He just knows he has to stay away.
Because I didn't really feel that much of a threat from them, and they were just a bit too cartoony.
Well, they were threatening. I felt the threat, but
even though I like John Hawkes, it was just a bit. Thomas Haden Church plays Clint, a.k.a. the saltwater redneck.
Yes.
Thomas Haden Church, the first time... You were familiar with him already.
Mm-hmm,
the first
of course,
time
he was in Wings.
Right, which I never saw.
Great show.
So the first time I ever saw him was Sideways with Paul Giamatti, which is one of my favorite comedies. I think it's really good. In the way this movie is. It feels like... It's kind of like a road movie, because they're on the road drinking wine. But it's they learn about life as they do it. But Thomas Haden Church, what did you think of him here?
It was good. I mean, again, brief, but I felt like it fit. Pretty genuine. Like, he's the down and out old timey wrestler. I mean, he used to be a wrestler. Now he just lives in a shitty house and kind of they knock around on an old ring and actually beat each other up with I won't say real, like wrestling moves, but the old wrestlers come here and beat each other up, like for real. It's really weird, but that has to exist. So
it's like that backyard wrestling thing where it's like not.
Yeah, but this is actual. You can tell they're doing it with the wrestling moves.
Yeah,
not just like fighting, boxing, UFC. They're actually using the holds and the slams, but not as a choreography.
And it's not sanctioned properly.
Correct.
It's kind of unlicensed.
Correct.
But yeah, Thomas Haden Church, he was fun. And
I think he fit.
Yeah, Bruce Dern, when you're talking about somebody who's not in it very much, Bruce Dern's in a couple of scenes, right? Mm-hmm. But he does leave a mark, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially with the scene with the bars on when he's... Because he used to be an engineer, but now he's an old guy in a whole old person's home.
He's instrumental in getting Zach to escape.
Yeah, I did like that part.
Yeah.
And then finally, Jon Bernthal, who you know as the Punisher, or if you don't know him as the Punisher, you know him as Shane from The Walking Dead. He plays Mark, which is Shia LaBeouf's
He doesn't have any
father.
lines or anything. No, he's his brother.
Brother, sorry. I'm terrible with families.
You are. It's his brother. He said it like 5 times.
I know it's his brother. I just missaid it. Yeah, anyway. Something happens between him and his brother. It kind of marks Tyler for his life, right?
Correct.
But yeah, he doesn't have any lines, but he's in it. Like, I don't forget that he's in it. Even though he's literally in.
That's why I say I feel like LaBeouf might have, like, hung out with him to be like, well, if I was your brother, I would pick up on your behaviors. And so,
yeah,
I don't know why I think that, but I feel like he had a little bit of Bernthal as Shane, not as the Punisher. Shane from The Walking Dead.
So it's small and there's no words from Jon Bernthal, but it's enough to let you know what the relationship was like. And, you get a little bit of backstory to Tyler that way.
Yeah, a little bit.
Directed by Tyler Nilsson and Mike Schwartz. They haven't directed a feature film before. This is the first one, but they've done short films together. What do you think of that?
Yeah, it's good. It feels a little amateurish at times, but it's just an intimate kind of movie. I don't know how to describe it. Like you said, with the editing, there were times I was like, this is sort of not put together very nicely, but I don't know if that's down to them. It must be, because
there were definitely times where you were like, oh, yeah, this feels like a first thing. Like, this would possibly improve, like, as they went on.
Yeah.
Like, this is like they're learning to do it. Kind
of, which adds to the charm, but it definitely subtracts from the quality.
Yeah. So, IMDb reviews, what are those and why would
They're 1-star reviews that you like to read when you disagree with people who don't like movies you like. Yeah. I'm going to frame it like that from now on, because that's the truth.
Now, funnily enough, the IMDb reviews for this movie, there are a bunch, but there are only 2 or 3 1-star reviews. So I'm not going to pick them. I'm going to pick the 2-star reviews because
that's the rebel you are.
Oh, there are no 2-star reviews. All right. 3-star reviews. All right, there's 1. I can only read you 1 this week, dear viewer. And it is this one. This person, Go Slow is their name.
Okay.
Says about this movie. I'm still bothered 2 weeks after seeing this movie. I feel had a warm, fuzzy, totally predictable outing. Good performances by good actors. But a fluff of a story. I do love the coastal setting, but witness the worst special effects. That wrestling scene. And I've seen the early Godzilla.
Oh, we're comparing to the early Godzilla, not this movie.
Comparing this movie to Godzilla. Yeah, the early Godzilla.
If you're going to compare and say something is bad, which is what they're saying about Godzilla, you should mention the most recent one. But I don't disagree that there was a little bit of weirdness there with that stunt, and yet, again, it screams of sort of indie, small.
It also felt like
filmmaker making their first movie vibe, and that kind of fit.
It was a bit comedy skittish.
It was.
Like, because it was, to explain, the Peanut Butter Falcon, who is Zach's wrestling name, picks up a giant man and throws him. And it looks like when we watch Supergirl and she throws something and it looks...
You can tell they're on a wire.
On a wire.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Because we've established through the movie that he's very strong. He's like all muscle.
Yeah.
He's very... That's one of his, like, Shia LaBeouf tries to tell him, like, dude, you're strong. Like, because he thinks he's nothing because of the Down syndrome, and people have always told him that he couldn't do anything. So we've built up to this point where we're saying he's strong, and now he picks up this man who's about 7 feet tall. Yeah. Picks him up over his head and flings him out.
In almost a superhero type scenario that is completely out of place to the rest of the movie, because there's no fantasy scenes where he's
True.
Really, it's a thing that happens that is very different to the tone of everything else. There's also 2 wrestlers. Now, I'm not a wrestling person, and I wouldn't know a wrestler if he walked in front of me and said, I'm a wrestler. But there's Jake the Snake Roberts. So anybody who's a WWF, I believe it was back then. Jake the Snake Roberts and Mick Foley. They're the two wrestlers who you can see in this movie. I mean, they're in it very briefly, to be honest, but they are in there. It was quite obvious to a non-wrestler, was it to you, that, oh, these are wrestling guys?
Yeah.
So extras on the Blu-ray, there is the making of the Peanut Butter Falcon. It's very short. The guy even...
Listen to how disappointed you are. It's kind of short.
The director even calls it an EPK, which I've never heard before. And if you don't know what an EPK is, it means electronic press kit.
And he thank you for watching our EPK.
Yeah, and an EPK is the kind of thing that, like, when they send me a movie for review, they send me a link to an EPK, and it's literally small clips to promote the movie. Might just be a trailer, might be like the director talking about something. But yeah, they even mentioned that it was that. So it's like literally 3 or 4 minutes. And then there's a photo gallery, which, why are we doing photo galleries at this time and day and age?
Somebody likes it.
Yeah, I mean, does anybody watch the photo gallery on a Blu-ray? You've just watched the movie.
Well, we did, to be fair.
We did, and we
turned it on and we just looked at all the pictures.
Wow, we're looking at less... They're
screenshots. They're not photographs.
They are lower resolution images of the movie. If you watch the movie, it looks better.
Yeah, and they're not... one of them was a photograph that someone with a camera was
just one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The rest were just sort of like, oh, here's our movie.
So, so I'd recommend this. I think it's really sweet, and I think it's like a feel-good movie almost.
Oh, yeah.
So, if you want...
It's a feel-good, feel-bad. You know, life is kind of shitty for some people who didn't choose their life, and yet then you have to think, yeah, but are we supposed to make it hard for people who have a disability or some difference? Like, we've sort of built societies on patting them on their little heads and being like, here, we'll cater to you, right? Now, there are people in the world who can't physically do stuff, and then there's people like this young man who seems fine, but I bet he's been treated as lesser, and so I would like for that not to be a thing. I'd like to see a movie just don't even acknowledge, like, gender and stuff, abilities, just a story about people.
True.
They probably exist. I just haven't sought them out.
So thanks to Lionsgate for giving us a copy for review. Next week, Sid Talk's either going to roll her eyes or she will like it. She won't know until she's seen it. But it's the new Fast and Furious movie, Hobbs and Shaw. Do you like Hobbs or Shaw?
I'll take a deep breath and roll my eyes. How's that?
Hey, but I will say, you do roll your eyes at Fast and Furious movies, but you also have had some fun watching some of them.
Number 3. That's my favorite.
Number 3 you do like.
Yep.
Tokyo Drift. But I do believe you've
No explanation as to why, because I wouldn't even presume to explain it, but...
Well, Fast and Furious, Hobbs and Shaw is actually a spin-off from Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
But it's The Rock and Jason Statham. We all know The Rock and Jason Statham have fun. So let's see what happens with them next week. Movie recommendations, I am going off this movie, The Peanut Butter Falcon. And I'll go with Dakota Johnson's movie, which we watched last, Suspiria, which I have grown to like more the more I thought about it afterwards.
Interesting.
And she was really good in it because she was like the outsider and also very pivotal to the whole thing. And American Honey for Shia LaBeouf. Andrea Arnold, I really love her filmmaking. And American Honey has really stuck with me. I think it's awesome.
It is good. It's one of those, again, you're watching it for like this human story that isn't being told like Transformers or even like English Patient or anything like that. It's not that kind of drama about human decisions. It's almost like you tap into that euphoria of youth and ignorance and life is going to be forever, kind of this dreamy thing. That's how American Honey seems to me.
And Andrea Arnold, who made American Honey, also made Fish Tank, which is another movie that's awesome and captures the same thing, I think. If you go back and watch that one's from some years ago. So those are mine. Yours are?
Mine are, let me look. Napoleon Dynamite. Because it had that feeling of, these are people we don't celebrate or focus on at all. And even the first time I was ever watching it, I was just, wow, I love these people. Like, love the characters. They are cartoony and yet they seem really, really real.
I caught you a delicious bass.
Peace out.
That's my favorite.
Peace out. And Eagle versus Shark.
Also, my other favorite Napoleon Dynamite saying is Kip when he says, "You're just jealous because I've been looking at babes on the internet all day." Yeah, that is a great film.
Cute. So that's it. Dynamite. Yeah, Napoleon Dynamite and Eagle versus Shark, which is, you explain.
Eagle versus Shark is a movie from New Zealand by director Takeshi Wakata. Is that his name?
Don't know.
He is the guy who directed Thor Ragnarok. And it is way before his Thor Ragnarok days. And Jermaine Clement is in it from Flight of the Conchords. And the sense of humor is exactly Flight of the Conchords.
It's a bit like...
It's like a Flight of the Conchords movie, but it's not about them.
With kind of broken people again, sort of the awkward people. And it's not for everyone.
It's really funny.
It is.
Yeah.
It's really funny. It's not for everyone.
It's in the... I would stick it in the Napoleon Dynamite category, actually.
Exactly. That's why I put them together.
It's quirky. And that one in particular, Eagle versus Shark, the sense of humor is very New Zealand, if you know what that means.
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Like the Flight of the Conchords. If you like it, you understand. There's a particular sense of humor to it, right?
True.
It's not British. It's not American. There's something about it that's obviously...
There's like an innocence about it.
Yeah.
I think is what I like about it.
Flight of the Conchords album. I listen to it so much. It is so funny.
It is funny.
The most beautiful girl in the world is my favorite.
And if anybody doesn't know who the Conchords are, Flight of the Conchords are, one of the guys wrote all the music for the Muppet movie.
Yeah, he did. Brett.
Yeah, and the other guy is in the season of Legion.
Yes, he is also in Men in Black 3. Was that?
I think so.
Yeah. He was a baddie, I think, in Men in Black 3.
Mm-hmm. So check him out. Flight of the Conchords, Eagle versus Shark, Napoleon Dynamite, and then whatever you said.
Suspiria and American Honey.
Lots of movies for you to watch.
So, A Scully stuff. Clocks go back tonight. You've already done it by now. I've been playing Fortnite, and because it's Halloween, they're calling it Fortnitemares. Get it? Fortnitemares.
Hint, clue. It's not Halloween anymore.
No, but they go with it for a whole week, I guess. Or at least over this weekend. If you drop into Fortnite, drop in literally, because you drop in from a plane. Or a bus, sorry. There's a lot of Halloween stuff going on. They've decorated it all up in Halloween. There's costumes to win that you can wear that are Halloween. Are
you a shill? You advertising for these people?
No. I love that costume where it's a banana on half of it, and then when you turn to the other half, it's like the inside of a banana, but it's got like a stomach and bones.
It's a little bit of that guy. that artist.
Yes.
Damien
Hirst.
Yes.
It's the banana.
Look it
Damien
up, kids.
Hirst's banana.
Yeah, look it up, kids.
Next week, by this time next week, Hideo Kojima's new game, Death Stranding, which I've been looking forward to for probably about 2 years, right? When did I show you the original trailer for that?
Oh, it's been a while.
And I said, look at this game that has Norman Reedus in it that looks like weird and cool. And even you, I remember watching that trailer went, ooh, that was really cool.
Yeah.
Because, who knows what it's about? Anyway, that comes out this week. So I'll take a look at that and talk about it next week. We also played a game for Halloween. What's the genre of game that we kind of like playing together?
Is it...
I play it and you watch.
Cinematic horror video game? Would you call it that? I'm making up a word here or a term.
Yeah, like Telltale do it. Visual novel? No, it wouldn't be a novel.
Well, it's like a cinema. It's like a movie.
Yeah.
So it's telling the story and it's very cinematic and lots of visual. I just sit and watch and then you play.
Yes.
So I don't know what to call it.
Yeah,
cinematic.
Well, if you've ever played a Telltale game, it happens in front of you and you make choices along the way.
Yeah, I mean, I have to call foul here on some of these. They big up this idea that they're giving you so many choices and you have so many different endings, but in fact, it's not really that way. if you really examine, like, what they're giving you, there can't be infinite endings. There can't even be so many endings that it's interesting. Because while you're playing this game, you make certain choices. The outcome is you have a group of people making it through a horrible situation. They either all live or they don't. One of them lives or they don't. Like, it's a combination. That's it. That's your only choices. The story doesn't change. The idea doesn't change. It's just a matter of, in this instant, I didn't hit my square fast enough. And so when the guy pointed the gun at my other character, they killed him. And then you go on. If you had hit it fast enough, that person would still be with you. But it doesn't, they just big up this idea so much. It's annoying to me because it doesn't really make the game that much more interesting to me.
We haven't actually said what the game is.
Oh, no, I haven't.
This game is from the people who made Until Dawn, which we also played. This is their new game called Man of Medan.
Which we can't quite figure out why it's that title. I can't figure it out anyway. No,
I figure out the Medan part, but the man part, no.
The one man, no.
No. Anyway, it's if you've played Until Dawn, it looks like that game.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah, it's like a movie is happening, and that you get choices along the way. And, characters can live or die. Mostly die when I play.
Correct. I
have a knack of killing them all.
Yeah.
Which is fun, because we get to see them all horribly perish.
True.
So what did you think of this one?
It was fun to watch, but then, to be honest, I ended up not really caring about any of the people.
Would you have cared if it played out differently than how we played it?
No. I'm saying, the characters didn't like when we're playing Walking Dead games, the Telltale versions.
Right. We had a strong connection to Clementine.
Yeah, and first of all, we had lots of games or lots of chapters with her, but these people in this game, while it looks amazing, I feel like the creators, and we watched a little making of thing, were more interested in like the luxuriousness of one of the characters' clothing than they were about the fact that they still have, even with all the goodness, the dead video game eyes and the weird side of their mouth that doesn't quite work right. And then there were lots of little glitches here and there that constantly pull me out because the style is trying to be realistic, right?
And sometimes it nails it, I thought.
Sometimes, but like Telltale games, they're not trying to be realistic. It's like a cartoon, not graphic novel, design, very heavily stylized. And so there's a lot of room there for things not to look right. When you're trying to do the realistic look, the fact that all their shoulders look like they were cut out of paper and they were like square, everyone, the women, the men, their shoulders were always wrong. And then their movements were like, they would have three characters standing on the screen very far apart from each other, not looking at each other with their dead guy eyes, and then saying things like really stilted, poorly acted lines. So those things constantly reminded me that, like, pulling me out or whatever. I was interested in the look of the place, though, because they're in this boat that's been floating around since World War II, and it looks amazing. The textures, the vibe. I did get scared a lot.
Yeah, we jumped
lots of jump scares and lots of like, whoa, that's creepy. So that was good.
Yeah, I think they've not quite perfected it, but they're onto something. Their style is technically this crashed twice, I think.
Once it crashed.
Once, but like the Telltale games all had technical issues as well, didn't they? It's like something about this type of game.
Yeah, but again, that didn't ever really bother me for some reason.
No. But I don't understand. Like, these games are more slower moving than like something like Call of Duty. Yet Call of Duty remains very fast and silky smooth the entire time, whereas these games seem to get like bogged down on something, right?
Yeah.
Even the Walking Dead, which was not a realistic looking game, still there was loading issues and weird glitches. I don't know what it is about it. Anyway, this Man of Medan, it's not like a full price game. Like, Until Dawn was like a $60 game. This Man of Medan's like a $20 game. So I guess the budget was a lot lower on this than it was on Until Dawn. So maybe that's why they had to cut some corners, Because it's not...
I think they just got too wrapped up. They were quite pretentious when they got to talking, I felt. So they kind of overrode the corporate way of making this game with a heightened sense of quality visually for the textures and everything.
Yeah.
And they made up so many more details about the characters behind the scenes that did not include in the game.
No.
So I have always had this philosophy with movies as well. If the person who wrote it has created an entire life for a character, and then in the movie or the TV show, we get one line, though, this guy used to be a railroad engineer, and then one day his train got loose and killed a bunch of people, and then you move on, right? You've defined that person real quickly, whereas these guys know the whole story, and it's not enough to just... That's why in this game, you get no solid backstories on anybody. Like Clementine, we've known her since she was a little kid. You get to know all the individuals pretty well, I think.
Yep.
So
that's
that
why
was
you
missing.
care about her.
Yeah, that was missing in this one.
Yeah, but if you are a fan of these type of games, it is a good example of these games, I think.
True.
I mean, it's well made, apart from the technical issues we had. And there is some good...
It looks amazing.
Yeah, it does look amazing. There's times where you look at it and go, okay, we've got to the point where a video game can look like a movie, and you can follow it, and it's not like shitty looking, or it's just technically sometimes it kind of chugs a little bit.
Little glitch.
And the story itself, while I thought it started off promising, and I really liked where they went in the scuba diving bit at the beginning and all that.
Yeah.
I think the actual story kind of fizzles out towards the end. It's like, oh,
I agree.
That's what it is. I mean,
I know.
I won't give it away, but
it's so disappointing.
Yeah, it doesn't really. It feels like it's going one way and it seems cool, and then it's that. Okay, so that's where it lost me a little bit. So, what is for dinner tonight?
You tell them.
Impossible Burgers.
You love them.
They're my favorite. They're my favorite plant-based fast food.
I mean, I offered to make you homemade tacos. No,
but I just nixed that and said Impossible Burgers.
Yeah, if anyone's a normal person, they would never turn down a taco for any kind of burger. We're vegetarians, so
I'm not a normal
Impossible
person.
Burger.
How many tacos do I like?
I would like one.
No, not one. You don't. I like two. No more, no less. Two.
Sometimes you only have one.
Sometimes one.
Which is abnormal.
Two's the max for me.
In my family growing up, if mom was making tacos, she better have 4 or 5 boxes of tacos, shells, and tons of it, because we would blow through 10 or 15 tacos a piece. So this one taco policy is a bit weird to me.
All right,
and I did want to mention with the Taco Bell that we're talking about.
Yeah.
This isn't Taco Bell. But I will give credit to this one individual who works for Taco Bell. We have had more than once, but this last week kind of broke the camel's back. And you can sit there and be all smug and snotty and go, why would you eat Taco Bell if you're a vegetarian? You should know better. Well, they push their vegetarian menu now. It's a big deal. They've got like a whole section, the bowl, the crunch wrap with black beans and all that. And so there's an expectation there when you order the vegetarian food. It's going to be vegetarian. But that didn't happen last time we were there. Well, the time before last. Got home and the crunch wrap was full of beef and I ate a bite of it. Now, I ate meat my whole life, so I don't really care about that part, but I was just grossed out and I was pissed because what happened to your veggie bowl a few months ago? It was full of chicken.
Chicken, wasn't it?
Another time I got tacos, I ordered the black bean in them. I happened to look at one in the drive-thru because I was really suspicious. They seemed really out of whack that day. And of course, they were full of meat. And so it was just one time too many. So I put a thing out on the Taco Bell website. Didn't get a call back for a few days, but then a young woman called me. She's the regional manager for all of this area in mid-Missouri. She's vegan. She's been vegan for 29 years. For the whole time she's worked at Taco Bell. Since she was, however, she's like 45 years old. I had a whole conversation with her. She was very, very, like, genuinely, like, really disappointed when I wrote my thing about it. You know, she said, I have to go in there when I get my orders. They know me. They know what I want. She told me about, you know, the struggle is real. She said when you go to like a Taco Bell conference, they offer 0 vegan or vegetarian options. She was like, I said, that seems kind of rude. She goes, yeah, right. You know, so she was cool. She made it right. She gave me back all the money for the entire order, not just replace the order, but said, come in on Halloween night. We'll get the order correct and I'll give you all the money back, which is what happened. So I really appreciated that. You know, sometimes most people would say, well, screw Taco Bell, I'm never going back again. Like if they keep screwing stuff up. But they are just people, right? People working at Taco Bell or any other food service. It's difficult. It's a hard job. It's not brain surgery. Give them that. But it's not easy to have the public pounding away at you for their perfect fucking taco. You know what I mean? Like, that's not easy. So I accept that mistakes are made. She made it right. And hopefully when we go there in the future, we'll continue to see
I wouldn't
progress.
hold your breath for that.
I know. Like, she's not there every day. I understand. No. But I was impressed with that. That she even called me personally. And so that was good.
And what's your advice? And then we'll get going.
My advice is know your limitations in life, but don't be defined by them. I have a limitation. I don't draw people very well. I don't because I'm not patient enough. I feel like photography, if you want to take a picture of somebody or you have someone paint your portrait or something, but drawing people has never been my strong suit because I don't naturally eyeball the features that make for this caricature that I'm drawing, for example, that just jump out at you because I haven't practiced it for all my life. I can draw other things and I could draw you from a photograph if you gave me like a lot of time and it would look good. But when my friend asked me the other day, an old classmate from high school, can you do these caricatures of my kids? I want to put it on a t-shirt for for a fun gift for Christmas. I was like, sure. And then I was like, oh, I'm not sure if I can do that well enough for it to be, people are easily impressed and she'll be happy with whatever I do. I know this. However, I don't want it to look like shit. So I could either write her back and go, you know what? I don't think I'm going to get this right. So, or I can just be like, right now I can't do it perfectly. I can't just knock up a caricature or a cartoon drawing like bing, bam, boom, got it. Here we go. But if I do it enough right now, as I'm working on it right in front of my face, keep examining the faces, play around with caricatures that I'm downloading, pictures of caricatures. Just keep doing it. I will learn it. I'm not going to define myself as, I draw stuff, but I can't draw people. I don't want that to be my limit that's like cemented over my head or anything. So it's the same syndrome I had last year when my best friend's daughter asked me to do her wedding photos. You've heard about this already. And I said, yes of course. And then as soon as I hit the send button to tell her yes, I was like, oh, shit. She means the wedding photos. She doesn't mean like, can you take some pictures at my wedding? That started me on my pilgrimage. I ended up buying 2 nice Nikon cameras and learning a lot about photography. Did the wedding. It turned out great. But if I had said in that moment, I've never actually taken that kind of pictures. I take pictures of other things. So I probably shouldn't do it. That would have been really sad because I've had so much pleasure from learning about photography. So, know your limitations. And if you can learn something to overcome it, do it. If it's something physical that you have to train for or find a way around it, do it. Don't let it be like, well, I can't do that, so screw it. That's it. Can't do it.
All right. So you can catch us on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and all those places. Catch this podcast everywhere that podcasts are available, excluding Spotify. If you know how to put it on Spotify, let me know. Apparently you have to pay or something.
And you haven't figured it out, which is hysterical. I love it.
Well, only way I've figured out is you go on a particular host and then they put it on for you. But if you run your own podcast and website like we do, there's no way of doing it.
Right. Oh, that's kind of a bummer.
So there's that. There's also emailing me at ascully@ascully.com because why wouldn't you email me? Don't email Sid Talk, though.
I'll email you from the other end of the house when it's time for supper.
Sometimes you do. Sometimes you text message me.
I do.
You can also, no, that's it. Stay classy.
Oh, that's it.
Stay classy. The peanut butter Falcon.
And I'm going to say, think for yourself or someone will do it for you.